Making the right connections are always important in the oil and gas industry. And when you build your crew, those relationships can last a lifetime. I'll explain that and much more on this episode of The Crude Truth.
In 1901, at Spindletop Hill near Beaumont, the future of Texas changed dramatically as, like a fountain of fortune, thousands of barrels of oil burst from the earth towards the sky. Soon, Detroit would be cranking out Model Ts by the millions, and America was on the move, thanks to the black gold being produced in Texas. Now, more than a century later, the vehicles are different, but nothing else has truly changed. Sure, there may be many other alternative energy sources like wind and solar and electric. But let's be honest, America depends on oil and entrepreneurs, and if the USA is truly going to be independent, it has to know the crude truth.
My guest today is just one that is a networking guru. He's got longer hair than I do. And when he's not out connecting the oil and gas people to other oil and gas people, he's teaching kids about oil and gas. My guest today is JP Warren. JP, how are you?
Brother man, thanks for having me on.
Oh man, thank you.
We were talking about before this, so I got my own podcast, and it's usually, I kind of feel like it's a little more like you just popped into character real quick and kind of gave like a 30-second spiel. Like, I didn't even expect that. It's just like went straight to character, and this is what we're doing, and like we're back. So thank you for having me. Love being here. Pretty cool studio. Kind of unexpected, and next to a gym.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
We're here in Fort Worth. We keep things, lean and
got to keep it healthy.
Yeah, that too.
I dig it.
You got to get your squats in a little bit before that.
I skip leg day. I'm a huge leg day. I'm a believer in skipping leg day.
There you go.
Okay, that's me though. So yeah, man, thanks for having me.
Oh,
I appreciate this.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. You've got way more experience than I have. So for you to even come sit down in my guest chair, blown away.
Okay. We're just having a conversation. We're just having a conversation. That's what it's all about.
That is all you do with your podcast.
Yeah,
Energy Crew is just one of these things that everybody watches on I'll say daily basis.
I kind of feel like with the Energy Crew, look, there's a lot of podcasts out there that have a lot of great information about kind of, what our industry's doing, the supply, demand, the geopolitical stuff, my podcast is pretty much like, all right, let's get to know the person behind the position. Let's kind of talk about whatever and kind of unscripted and kind of I don't want to say we kind of stay away from oil and gas topics, but we touch on it. We discuss more careers and kind of advice, stuff that you've learned, I guess, along your career path. So for me, it's just kind of sitting around and shooting the bull and just kind of getting to know someone a little bit more, which I think is kind of the basis of the business that I have.
Well, you talk about the basis of your business. That's what we do here in Texas is before you even, go in to say, hey, you want to buy this or I'm selling this. It's, hey, how are you doing? We're going to sit down. We're going to talk a little bit. Let's get to know each other.
Well, I think ever since, 2015, I think there's been a change in the oil and gas industry when it comes to kind of, so I was going to say, my background, started off in the oil field in 2005, Noble Drilling. I couldn't find a job for 6 months. I moved back from France, got a master's in France, moved back to Houston, and I couldn't find a job for 6 months. And this was during the Monster.com days.
Oh,
dude, I was applying to be like a bus driver one day and like a manager of like a retail store the next day. I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So started off as HR temp at Noble Drilling, got hired on as HSC. But my background's in marketing, and my master's is like an MBA with a European focus. And they're like, hey, you like this company? I'm like, oh yeah, I love Noble Drilling. I love the people here. Like, do you want a job? Yeah, what's that job? HSC. I'm like, all right, what the hell's that? No idea. What does that stand for? So did that for a little bit, and I wanted to get into marketing, and I eventually started working offshore to kind of know what I was going to be selling.
Yeah.
Did that for about 1.5 years, 2 years, then Macondo happened. So our group, we were in the fast track program, the ops trainee program. I mean, I'll give you the professional title to make it sound more important. The operations management development program. And we got pulled back onshore and kind of running around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to find kind of what the government was asking for, but the government had no idea what they were asking for. So it became this pretty much building binders for the government for like 6 months.
What?
Yeah, like pretty much about every like COC from like any pressure control equipment from the crown pretty much to the ground.
Yeah.
And that got pretty boring. Became a glorified administrative assistant, which is fine. But then I went over to Saudi Arabia with Archer for about a year.
Yeah.
And it sounds important.
Hey,
I was acting.
I'm blown away.
I was ready. Acting country manager.
Wait.
Yeah.
You were representing.
I was over there, Archer.
Yes.
And so it was a Rawabi Archer.
Yes.
And I was acting country manager, and that sounds extremely important, right?
Whoa.
Like I got my shit together. No, I literally had 3 people under me. So I'll take the title all day long. So I did that, and in 2011, 12, I came back to the States, and that's when I got in sales.
Okay.
And so I guess kind of to sum it up, when I first got in sales, it was very relationship based.
Yeah.
You worked with your friends. You don't work with your friends like you did them any special favors, but I mean, you worked with your friends. You know, I mean, you have that relationship, you build it, and the business just comes.
Yes.
I think during the crash of 2015, when everything was driven by price and everything was that, the relationship aspect got kind of sucked out, got pulled off the table, and that created obviously panic, and I guess a sense of urgency with and I'm speaking guilty of myself when you're in sales, like you have a certain urgency of like, okay, well I have 5 minutes of raised time, I got to sell them something, I have to have some sort of transaction.
Yeah.
And thus was born the transactional relationship in the industry. And when that started happening, you started seeing operators slow their attendance down to certain industry events, whether it was Doug, whether it was OTC, whether it was happy hours, AD happy hours.
Yeah.
You saw operators kind of scale back their attendance there because I use the term chum in the water.
Yeah. Okay.
When operators go there, it's like, hey man, when you picking up that rig? Hey, when you do it? Hey man, I sent you that email. You want to do lunch? Like, it just became a transactional style environment. Yeah. So I understand why operators did, and so the whole goal of this is let's cut all that bullshit. Let's get rid of the transactional style conversation, because business will come eventually. Yeah. The conversations of business and kind of how we can, solve your problems, deal with your challenges, whatever. I mean, sell to you. Yes. That comes naturally. Yeah. So I guess kind of the whole one of the goals behind this is to establish genuine relationships, the stuff that we used to do back in the industry, because it is so extremely important. The relationships in our industry, because the people in our industry is kind of what makes us such a unique, cool, fun industry to be in.
Oh, absolutely. The people you meet, you've got some that you've got stories for days on, and then you got the guys that never talk, but they get it done.
Yeah.
And, your Connection Crew.
Yes, Connection Crew.
You guys, you invited me to your
that's how we met.
Yes, that is how we met.
Now look at us.
I know.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not me. Who would have thought?
We're just hanging out, having a conversation.
Just two bros riffing.
That's right. And we'll have to get some hair stories and
the hair stories,
products, and get some products later.
Well, I've been doing this hair for about 3 years. Before this, about 3 or 4 years. So before this, like my single days, it was during the World Cup time. So my hair was pompadour.
Oh,
shaved
like
size.
Ronaldo, like
yeah,
Ronaldo?
Yeah, it was like shaved size, like legit single look. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like hair, like bottles, whatever. So I met my wife, and she's like, and she's a musician. She's a rock star.
Oh.
In my eyes.
Okay.
And actually in the world's eyes. And she's like, you should grow your hair out long. I was like, okay, boom. Like, I'm gonna say no to that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yes, man. So started growing it out, and on my podcast, Energy Crew, I had Brittany Franklin on, who's the CEO of Sky High for Kids.
Yeah.
And she's like, you should cut your hair for Sky High. And I'm like, I'm good. Of course I'm buying it. I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely do that. But my buddy Chris Gallio, who's on the board, the young professional whatever of Sky High, we were kind of talking, and he's been battling cancer for several years, and he's like 32, and he's very active in this, and he's like, you should cut your hair. I was like, all right, man, I'll cut my hair. So I missed the one in Houston in the spring, and so now I'm donating 8 inches.
And how big is 8 inches?
8 inches. In my household is this.
Okay.
All right, 8 inches. So that's kind of an ongoing joke, and whatever. You can you can make jokes these days.
Yeah,
I feel like
you can. Hey, it's
okay to make
2022,
jokes, especially if it's self-deprecating jokes.
Yes,
I can do that. All right, so it's 8 inches.
8 inches.
And yeah, I'm doing that in Midland on September 8th at the Sky High event, and I've already raised $3,500 doing that, and I want to get to 10,000, 15,000. I just think it'd be cool to raise that much money for those kids.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Kids with cancer, and what group is Sky High really trying to get at?
Man, that's a great question.
That's
I mean, I can go into this a little bit, but I want people to go to the website, and also I really don't know. So I feel like Sky High, they're such a good organization for, when children that are fighting, pediatric cancer.
Yeah.
And I learned this because I had Brittany on the podcast, and I learned this too. She was talking.
Yeah, so Brittany Frankel.
Yes, Franklin.
You learned this from Brittany Frankel.
Yeah, and so pretty much they only don't give money back for research and kind of treatment for these children, but they also kind of I can't imagine parents that go through something like this, and that just kind of breaks my heart. And the fact that they help the families out, obviously they families that can't go to work, they have to they're there to care for their kids.
Yeah,
they help them out. They put them up in like hotels, and so they kind of help the family when they're going through this like tragic, trying times. And I kind of dig how it's not just okay, here's a check, hospital. It's like, okay, how do we help the families? How do we help the kids? So yeah, look, if I have to grow my hair out, make some funny videos and raise awareness along the way, shit, I'll do that, man.
Yeah, your video, I saw one, and in fact, we'll have to play that.
The Jacques Pierre, whatever. Yeah, the French dude with long hair, slow mo. I did it on ranch. Like, my daughter thinks it's hilarious, but she's like, "Dad, you're embarrassed." I'm like, I don't care if I'm embarrassing. Like, that's my job to be embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like your dad.
Yeah, it's like you don't get that.
No, you don't get that at all.
Don't take that right from me.
Yeah, you got to tell him that. I have an 8-month-old son now.
Okay.
And so I'm not there yet by any means, but I am already matching out. Now, of course, that's not my.
Are you working on the dad jokes?
And, I'm trying.
Okay, that's it.
But usually my jokes are pretty lame anyway.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Good. So
well, that's what I'm saying.
Ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, good. So I'm cutting it. I'm cutting it September 8th in Midland.
September 8th. Do you know where in Midland?
I have no idea. I think there's a banquet.
Oh man, it's gonna be at a banquet.
So what they do, they auction it off. So the person that bids the most apparently is the one with the scissors that gets to cut your hair. Oh. So what they do, I think we found out last night, is like, I guess you go up there and then they do this like live bid. It's like, $200. And so the person who bids the most is the one that cuts the hair. And so I'm going to grow it out again, cut it. I mean, why not? Just keep on doing it, man.
I love it. Well, speaking of kids, you now have another organization called
Kids Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that all kind of stemmed one day when I went to this lunch, and you hear one of these big, I think it was Shell or something like that, kind of up and talking, and like as an industry, we're really good at, number one, reacting. Okay, we're never proactive. We're always reactive.
We are an industry that should be out telling more people stories and how we really are a safe, and bountiful and reliable source of energy. As a drill, as an operator, we have to go through so many environmental things to make sure. I mean, there might be a lizard somewhere in West Texas.
Oh, I've heard them shut down stuff for turtles. Yeah.
And because there's desert turtles.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know. And but so there's so many things that we have to go through, and and I don't want to ruin the earth. I mean, the earth is what's giving us the oil. Okay, let's be straight there.
Organic earth energy.
Yeah. So it is, it is organic.
Well, dude, and the problem is, like, you're right, like, we get such a bad rap for being, and I get why, because again, if we get a black eye, we do our best job to kind of cover that up or do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's we do such a good job at providing data, and facts, and the realistic. But that doesn't sway public opinion. No. Before I got in the industry, I didn't know where gasoline came from when I was filling up my car. I just assumed like, oh, da da da. So so it's very easy to sit in this echo chamber and say, oh, well, this is what we should be doing. This is what we should be doing. We should be doing that. So it's like, Kids Crew kind of came a long time. And I'm watching, this is through, years of watching Netflix shows with my daughter. There was a Bigfoot and Family show on Netflix. And like, pretty much the villain is an oil and gas cat. And and the cameras are on him. He's like, oh yeah, we love the environment. We love doing this, doing all that stuff. But once the camera's shut off, he's like, yeah, as long as we make that profit, I don't care about the environment. So, I'm watching this with my daughter, and like, they're very heavily knocking the oil and gas industry.
Yes.
And to me, it's like, and I got a new term. You got to check your energy privilege. Okay.
Check
your energy privilege.
Check your energy privilege.
Yeah.
All right. Check your energy.
Check your energy privilege.
Okay.
There's a lot of decisions and a lot of public information out there that may feel good and may sound good, but realistically speaking, it does not support our certain comforts way of life. I mean, you can see that in Germany right now. You see that.
Yes.
So without getting on that soapbox, so I'm watching this stuff with my daughter, and I'm seeing. So my daughter's now seeing this. Okay, so even if Daddy says that he's not a bad guy and all stuff, once the cameras are off, he's still a villain. So I'm seeing this, and I'm hearing all these people. Oh, we should be doing this. We should be doing that. And I'm sitting there one night with my wife, and I'm like, I think now's the time to do something. Like enough of coulda, shoulda, woulda. Let's do something.
Yeah.
So it started off as like, we have this awesome museum in Houston. It's called the Houston Museum of Natural Science. And the 4th floor is like legit, like oil and gas, renewables, and all that stuff. And I'm for all energy, baby. All right?
Yeah.
I'm sick of this camp talk that we have as an industry. It's like fossil fuels versus renewables. Like, no, baby, I'm a Prius mindset. We need it all, baby. So, but let's be realistic about it all. So we're kind of sitting there and like, we're like, oh, let's take the kids on a tour of this and all that stuff. And then it slowly kind of started evolving, graduating, whatever you want to call it, where we got Oventive, we had Marathon, and we had EOG come in and conduct these STEM experiments for the kids and kind of teach them about, like, so for example, EOG.
Yeah.
They were fracking Jell-O with chocolate syrup. Oh, the kids were digging that. Like, they were loving it. And then Oventive, they were doing viscosity with marbles, and you drop it in different liquids and all that stuff. And I'm seeing these kids, and then a Marathon, they're making lava lamps. So we had all these, operators come in and kind of do these presentations, and then they competed for the gold drill bit, silver drill bit, and the bronze drill bit. So Marathon got the gold, EOG got the silver, and Oventive got the bronze. So it was, man, the kids had fun. I dressed up as Thor, we're getting the kids involved, and by the end of it, they were so, I'm not here to push an agenda. I'm not here to push this, I'm just here to say, hey, look, here's some fun experiments you can do at the house and all that stuff. If that correlates to energy, if that correlates to hydrocarbons, and how hydrocarbons are in, the suit that you're wearing, the iPads that we play Roblox on, and all that stuff. Like, let's talk about that. Just because something is villainified, right? Like the oil and gas industry, our industry. That's not. I really don't think that's fair. You got to check your energy privilege.
Yeah.
So, in reality, so the kids got together, and I'm like, okay, I think we're onto something here. These kids are digging it. They went home. We gave them a geo cracker rock thing, so they get home, they get to be little, geologists and all that stuff. Yeah. And look, I think it's cool. I think we're bringing it to Oklahoma City next in October. We're currently working with the October 28th date, and we want to bring it to Midland. We're bringing it to Denver. And I just want to, it's one of those things where we want to kind of bring the community together, bring the kids together, and whether it's STEM experiments about whatever, and just kind of ignite that, because I saw that there's 85% fewer petroleum engineers and geology people graduating this year versus 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And you fact check that, like, actually it's 5 years ago, whatever. Fact check me, I don't care. So anyway, something like that.
Yeah,
85% less.
Well, that would correlate with the fact that the oil and gas routes, all the guys out on the rigs.
Yeah.
I think the average age now is like 28 or something.
There's not a lot of experience.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? There's not a lot of pride either.
No.
I remember, not that long ago, there's a lot of oil field pride. There's a lot of pride working hard, getting dirty, oil field pride. That's not here anymore.
No. Right now, I think a lot of people are kind of like, oh yeah, I'm in. And it's like, man, it used to be, 13, 14. You would see,
loud and proud.
Yeah, you got those guys that have their big old diesels and oil field this or
oil field trash, man. That oil field cash. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. That sounds probably like something that was on a big old diesel.
I think they're still on mini diesels out in West Texas. I think that's probably it. But that's the thing. There was a lot of oil field pride.
Yeah.
And I went to Texas A&M, talked to the SPE group there, and that's something kind of I want to do more, because look, I'm not here to push anything. I just want I think as an industry, we need to reintroduce who we are.
Yes.
We often come across like we're either this 65-year-old white dude on the 45th floor of a building, like, oh, let's get profits over whatever that character was, or we're the uneducated redneck throwing tongs. This is one of the coolest industry out there.
Absolutely.
We are, whether we're, pumpers, engineers, scientists, tech innovators. I mean, the stuff you're seeing in the industry now is tremendous. It's the Silicon Valley, in my opinion. I mean, you're seeing all this cool AI stuff, these cool real-time data. Like, it's a cool industry to be in. And so I think it's important to reintroduce who we are as an industry. We aren't a dying industry. We are an industry full of great people. And guess what? You get to work with your friends.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
Yeah. No, that's what got us partly into it in 2011 when we started. It's like we knew some people and they'd been asking for like me to get into it. And I said, no, I'm good. And then, then
what were you doing before?
Man, I was actually in banking before.
Really?
This. Yeah, in finance.
Okay.
And a long time ago. And back in the day. And we started Pecos Country Energy in 2011. And then at that point, I shipped out to West Texas and started doing flowback work.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And so I started in 11 and then 15 happened and came back and I worked for some of the little roustabout groups that were still running some of the whatever was left of the Barnett. So we were pretty lean then too, and there in 15.
I didn't know that. So banking into the working as a pumper?
Yeah, no, my father has been in it since the late 80s. And so he's been working here downtown.
But he's got some stories.
He does.
For another podcast.
That's another podcast. And right now my running joke with him is on April 20th of 2020.
Yeah,
we saw negative oil. Negative 37, and because his claim to fame is always
80s was the toughest.
Yeah, 80s was the toughest, and I've seen this before. Don't you worry, I've seen this before.
Hold my beer.
I got this. Yeah. Now I start. You seen this before? No. Never seen this before.
Well, April 20th is a tough year for the industry because I think that also April 20th in 2010, that's when the Macondo incident happened.
Yes. Yeah, if I'm correct. Yeah.
2010, 2011. I feel like it was April 20th. It was something like that.
Was it I think so.
Yeah, fact check me later. But April 20th is not a good date in the oil and gas industry at all. At all. And it's a shame. It's 2 days for my birthday.
And for the guys that get drug tests, it's not a good day.
Oh, no. Horrible day for those guys. Horrible day for those guys.
But no, I joke. But
we joke here.
We like
on the CRUDE TRUTH. We make jokes.
Yes. We like to. Hey, and one of my sponsors hit me the other day, going, "Man, when are you going to start asking those hard hitting questions?" He goes, "It's the CRUDE TRUTH, RT. It's the CRUDE TRUTH."
What are some hard hitting questions you got?
I got nothing.
Throw something out there.
I don't know. I mean, it's like, hey, where do you see oil going?
Come on. I just said you're not going to get me with any of the market speculation shit. No, but I think, honestly, as an industry, I mean, we have so many challenges out there, and we do such a good job at putting out material and content that's, for me, it's an advertisement. So if I'm watching and I see, a team of 15, Chevron employees putting up a frame of a house like Chevron, powered by people, for me, that's an advertisement. That's not going to win hearts and minds. It's not telling us who we are as an industry. It's money spent on an advertisement.
Yeah. So
we have to be doing a better job at doing what you're doing right now. You're putting together content. You're putting stuff like, we don't need to. I hate saying that. I hate when people say, "JP, you need to do this. You need that." But I don't feel as an industry we need to be kind of regurgitating what we already know.
Yeah.
Look at these windmills. They're catching on fire after. Okay, man, that's our echo chamber.
Yeah.
So doing stuff like you're doing stuff like Digital Wildcatters doing stuff like, Max Gagliard, being, I guess coming up with new content to tell our story, to introduce who we are, to kind of show the personality of our industry right now is extremely, extremely important.
It is.
We have to reintroduce who we are. We have to kind of show the truths on who we are versus being these. And that's the thing. You're talking about the environment before. We're in the oil and gas industry. You tell me one cat in our industry that doesn't love going hunting or hiking or whatever. Yeah. We are environmentalists to the T.
Yes. We all donate to the CCA or to Safari Club. I mean, you
want to get operators out, you take them hunting, fishing, you take them to a nice piece of land.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And we all know that in order to continue to hunt there or fish there, we have to
take care of it.
Yeah. We got to take care of it.
We got a bad rap.
And I love your analogy. It's like, hey, people either know, the oil field worker or the no guy at the top of the bill. It's like, but there's such a group in the middle that people don't know about.
Oh my gosh, it's tremendous.
And especially here in Texas, like, hey man, we have over, I think it's 1/3 of all jobs in Texas are in some form of the oil and gas industry, or the energy industry. Well, we can fact check that later.
It works.
Yeah, we can fact check that later.
And that's a well, fact check here. No, that's fine. That's a hard hitting question. But that's the thing, though. It's like, yeah, I mean, we're such a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, you back it up a little bit on the global aspect of it. I mean, you can go to any place where there's oil field activity. I don't care if it's Nigeria. I don't care if it's Brazil. I don't care where it is.
Yeah.
You're going to go to a different culture, but you're more similar than that because I mean, you have the same groups. You have the same comments, the same laughter, same like. So it's like it's such a cool, diverse but similar group. It's like, you know, you got the cool tech stuff going on with Corva and like AI stuff and like, you know, cold bore tech, and you have the cool, you know, drilling rig, you know, new generations coming. Like there's a lot of cool stuff happening here, and it's kind of mind-boggling how we can, you know, go 1.5 miles beneath this Earth's ground to find organic Earth energy, and it's just it's and doing that blind, by the way, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
and so I think it's such a cool, fascinating industry with some pretty cool cats. And that's the thing. It's like all my friends are in this industry, you know. My daughter's friends are, you know, or my friends' daughters. Like it's a good community.
It is.
That's kind of like what I highlight.
And people help each other out. I mean, you know, that's one thing. Somebody's got a flat on the side of the dirt road or something. They pull over. Hey, what you need? All right, we got, you know, and that's just. I'm going to use the term "good old boy."
Yeah.
But it's in a good way, meaning, hey, we're all friends. We're all here for one reason. That's to succeed. And we want to help each other succeed. And that's what I feel about with your connection crew. It's like, hey, it's a group of guys in there and ladies that want to get in there and help somebody out, or, you know, do a project and grow.
Well, the funny thing about this kind of all started, I guess, during COVID when, so I've never been an entrepreneur before. First off, I hate that word. I don't know why. I just feel like it's very like late 90s, early 2000s. Like when everyone said they're an entrepreneur, I was like, I'm an entrepreneur. I was like, no, you're not. You're working 2 jobs. But so I've never had that spirit before. I've never really, I guess, bet on myself or trusted myself. And honestly, I'm still battling with that to this day. But so kind of during... So I've been in the industry since 2005, and during COVID, you know, when rig count went from 1,200 to 200, a lot of people got let go. A lot of people kind of, they don't want to raise their heads out, you know, out of the sand. So they kind of, everyone reclused.
Yes.
And, you know, in the industry, when there's nothing to sell, and it's funny, it's like, it's if you're an operator and you don't have a rig, you're easily forgotten. But you're the most popular cat in the room once the word's out there you're picking up a rig. Yeah. So for me, it's like, all right, look, rig count's not going up. Let's do something here. So, all right, so Ray, you invite 4 frustomers, friends that are customers. I'll invite 4 frustomers to this dinner. Let's just have a dinner. Let's bring good people together and just kind of connect again. Let's get out of our homes. Let's take a break from our families, much needed probably during these times, and let's just kind of gather around and share stories, conversations. What shows we watching? Hey. And then suddenly you start seeing this kind of like this energy in the room. You start seeing one operator being like, man, I'm, you know, in this, you know, formation right now, I'm having this issues. And suddenly there's another operator across the table like, hey, have you tried this? So you started hearing this, like the best industry practice kind of being shared. Not confidential information, pump the brakes. You start hearing kind of people helping each other out with certain operational issues they have. And then you're like, oh, I used to intern with you. Oh, you work with this person. So you start seeing kind of this, you know, 6 degrees of separation, which is like 3 in the oil field. And so after that, that's kind of, I guess, when it all started, that I identified a need to get people together with no sales pitches, no presentations, no expectations, just to come together and meet people, expand your network. I talk about bursting your bubble. You know, if I'm an operator, it's like, no, I don't need to go meet new people. I got my, you know, pipe guy, got my bit guy, got my mud guy, got whatever. I got my core 5 group. Well, shit, what happens when 3 of them lose their jobs? You know, suddenly that your support group is a lot weaker. So it doesn't hurt to meet people. And honestly, I was talking to one cat one time, and he was like, okay, what's your name again? I was like, you know, JP with Connection Crew. He's like, okay, what are you selling? I'm like, I'm not selling you anything, man. Just come to the just come have break bread.
Yeah.
Break bread.
Yeah.
And, after the event, I was like, wow, that was actually really beneficial. So anyway, it's all about genuine relationship building. And that's something that I think we need. You experienced it last night.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I appreciate it. It was a great time. The food was good. And where can people find you at?
So you can find me at for the Connection Crew stuff, the Crew Club stuff, and Crew Club is a member. It's a membership style group, and so you can find that at www.connectioncrew.com, and it's CRUE.com, like Motley Crue. You can find Kids Crew at www.kidscrew.com, again, like Motley Crue. My podcast is Energy Crew. And you can find that on Spotify, Apple, or anything like that. But so pretty much find me on LinkedIn, find me anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, JP, I appreciate your time today.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Thank you for all that you're doing by getting people connected in the oil and gas industry. And I just want that to only continue and let that grow. In fact, where are some of the cities that your Connection Crews are going to be at?
We started this probably a year ago, and we've had about 47 events throughout Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, which are two different cities.
Yes.
Oklahoma City, Midland, and Denver.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we've had about 47 events, and we've had, I think, 383 different E&P operators attend these events.
Wow.
Yes.
That is awesome.
It is awesome.
Well, keep it up and keep those connections growing.
You keep doing what you're doing, man. I really appreciate how you're doing a podcast. I mean, it's so... What I've noticed is a lot of service people do have podcasts. But so whenever I see an operator like, Rocks Exploration, like Adam Oxen over there, whenever I see this is the type of stuff we need as an industry. If I'm one person sitting in, Boise, Idaho or Oregon, and I type in this and I listen to it, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe those people aren't that 65-year-old guy or that uneducated roughneck. Like it's a great way to more of this stuff only allows us to reintroduce who we are.
Well, there's the crude truth today. We have to talk. We can't just, be on this side or that side.
That is the crude truth. Well done. Well done to wrap this up. I love it. So
JP, thank you so much.
Brother, man. Thank you, man.
I appreciate it.
And we're going to get you on my podcast next.
Absolutely. Just tell me when.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye. And that's it on this episode of The Crude Truth. We'll see you next time.
The easiest way to start your own podcast and TV show? Real News Communications Network. Stand out from your competition. Produce streams of high-quality social media content. Become a thought leader in your industry. With RNCN, you get to be the host. We handle everything else. Tour one of our 3 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Colony. Call 972-402-6333 or visit launchashow.com to find out more.